What's up, everybody? This is going to be a quick little recap video of things that I've learned since I got my solo DL. A little bit ago I did a unboxing of the DL and kind of just did a quick overview of my initial thoughts of it and everything, and it's really been awesome so far. The first thing you can notice is over here I have a lot more options of stuff that I can start to record. Keep in mind my car is a little bit of a special case, being a 3.5 EcoBoost swap with a Ford Racing. It's a Bosch computer, but it's an aftermarket setup that isn't supported by AIM at the moment. I only get the standard OBD2 parameters that I can record, but it's still very helpful being able to record stuff like engine coolant temp, intake air temp, manifold pressures, pedal position sensors, as well as having actual built-in accelerometers. Quick note on these numbers right here, there's no way I'm doing -4 Gs. You need to calibrate your solo when you first get it, which on this screen down here, this button, calibration, that kind of zeroes out all the sensors. I learned that one the hard way after realizing it wasn't calibrated right. And then the other thing you have to do is when your solo is hooked up and on, you go to device configuration, solo DL, and then up here, ECU manufacturer, mine says OBD2, you get all sorts of options, all different companies, whatever. I'm a Ford guy, so let's say I had a Ford 05 to 09 Mustang is supported, 2010, 2011, the Boss, several years of Focus. So if you click on one of them, it'll change the parameters that stock computer measures. So now that I got more parameters I can measure, an area I wanted to look at was right here. What I have up is the speed trace of Watkins Glen, and this is my pedal position sensor. The reason I use pedal position and not throttle position, being a drive-by-wire car, they are not always equal, but generally they're pretty close. So here's turn 10, just in case you're not familiar with the track. Here's the front straight, up the S's, bus stop, toe the boot, heel. That's turn 9, turn 10 right here. As you can see, it's not quite a 90-degree turn, and it's a fairly large radius as well. And when you're on track, it actually is banked a tiny bit to the inside, which helps you out as well. It makes it a pretty high speed turn. So you can see we enter it at 100, and we slow down to only about 98 miles an hour. This turn specifically, when I first started going here, I would actually brake for this turn. Then I kind of got the confidence to give like an extended lift. Then I would accelerate into it and give it a quick lift and back on it. And then now with the high downforce setup and this is the suspension from Maximum Motorsports, I kind of had the confidence to keep my foot in it a little bit. I can't do it flat, but this right here confirms that I didn't do a full lift. And if you look at the throttle position percentage, 26% about. I thought I was doing about a half lift. I may be doing about a 3/4 lift, but you know, that's pretty neat being able to actually see that. Another one I've been keeping an eye on is engine coolant temps. It was kind of warm at Watkins Glen, but not that bad at all. Intake air temps were 88 to 90, which are usually a few degrees above ambient, the way my car reads it, I found out. So kind of a warm day, but not necessarily hot. Where the engine coolant temp came into play is last weekend at Sebring. You could see it was about 95, 93 to 97 were the temps I was seeing. And my engine coolant temps, look, it's actually off the chart. It's so high. Another quick tip, if you double click the side, there it goes, it automatically recalibrates your scale. And you can see I saw 232 was my highest, which is pretty hot. And I also noticed that on my dash reads about 5 to 8 degrees hotter. So when I was out there racing during nationals, I was seeing almost 240 degrees, which definitely wasn't the best situation, but is what it is. But another neat thing to kind of keep an eye on, you can see how your car gets hotter and cooler. This is kind of leading me down the road of needing to possibly redo my radiator ducting to make it a little bit bigger, and really clean out the radiator, which is something I do anyways. Okay, so here's a good example of using the RPM. Headed into turn 1 at Sebring, just in case you're curious. Here's the track map. Turn 1 is the pretty quick left-hander. You can see on the teal line where I didn't shift and actually bounced off the rev limiter a little bit and then almost coasted into the turn. And then the other one, I actually shifted. You can see the RPMs come down. That's a shift right there. And I was a little slower on the straight. I gave out a little bit here, but I was able to drive it into the turn much harder. So here's a good example of where, you know, having the proper gearing could help you. It's almost like I was stuck between gears, we'll say. We can do a delta across it, and again, I have another video of how to use this delta function, but let's start the lap to, I guess, where they cross over, and you can see the difference in time. I'm sorry, down here on the bottom right, the orange was quicker by almost 2/10. So this particular example, the orange is quicker. Digging through the data, I won't do it right now. If I started on the straight a little bit quicker and rode it out versus starting quicker and shifting, it was a toss-up of give or take a 10th or 2 either way. Towards the end of the weekend, I started actually shifting because, again, going back to the engine coolant temp running, 230 degrees, that high RPM bouncing off the rev limiter definitely wasn't helping things out. So that's a way you can use the RPM function. So yeah, so the Solo DL, definitely pretty cool. I think definitely worth it, being able to log different parameters, and I can start to tinker with different things. Don't forget to calibrate it. But that's about it for this one. I hope you guys learned something.